Hi there. So the news that Scotland might be opening its golf courses at the end of May, which is great news for everybody up there. It is the home of golf after all. So today I interviewed David Scott. He is a general manager of a brand new golf course in Scotland called Dumbarnie Links. Can you imagine opening a golf course for the first time during COVID-19? Let's see what he's got to say. Hello, I would like to welcome David Scott, the General Manager of Dumbarnie Links, the new fantastic links golf course that is opening in Scotland very soon. Now, you live around the St Andrews area, don't you, David? So that must be a very strange place to be right now.
It's bizarre, Sophie. For the last 8-9 weeks, there's just nobody on the streets at all. The students leaving the town, there's around 10,000 students in town. They'd usually be leaving, sometime in April, but they all bailed out, obviously, as soon as COVID-19 came along and the lockdown. And then your golfers, you expect thousands upon thousands coming in, early part of April into May. So we're absolutely high season right now for a regular golf year. And the town would be bustling, and the back of the 18th green in the old course, dozens of people just seeing golf approaches coming into the 18th and round the first hole, a great buzz. Now, I'm a regular walker or jogger around that area, and you can see 2 or 3 people if you're lucky, and they're locals. There's no visitors at all. So it's the weirdest of feelings.
I bet. Now, there has been some good news from Scottish Golf, hopefully letting golf courses open now on May the 29th, I believe. What was your stance on, first of all, golf closing? Do you think it could have stayed open? And how do you feel about being the last country in Great Britain to open to golf?
Yeah, interesting one, isn't it? I personally think that golf's a very safe sport if everybody's socially distancing, but also there's the correct signage to remind golfers of what they should be doing, and the flagstick being a huge factor. So there's so many companies now that have come out with these amazing little gizmos that you put to the bottom of the flag, and you can flip the ball out of the hole, or you actually have, a hole reversed, and so you can have upturned, and so the ball just sits in and no more. So there's no danger at all. So I was disappointed that we weren't opening earlier, but delighted now that we're seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. We get a final decision from the First Minister on Thursday 28th. It's highly likely, from our comments yesterday, that yes, we'll be allowed to play on the 29th. I understand it's such a tough one. You're talking about lives of people, and it's horrendous, this virus. But I don't see why a DIY shop should have been open before a golf course, because I think painting your fence is unnecessary. It might be good for your sanity, but painting a fence is unnecessary. You go into one of these shops, pick up a tin of paint, and you put it back and you don't like it, and then somebody else comes back 5 minutes later, picks up the same paint. You've got actually a potential virus, transmission and spread there. Out in the golf course, you don't have that. So it's a kind of double standard, but I totally understand it's hugely difficult for the politicians to make one rule for another is best, and a lot easier to make it a blanket. So I totally respect that.
Yeah, let's just go back to the Dumbarnie Links. You very much glazed over it. I looked at some photos. It looks absolutely beautiful. So for those of us, I looked online, and it's one of the most eagerly anticipated links golf courses opening in 2020. You must have been so excited to see it already. Tell us a little bit about it. Obviously 14 holes that all have sea views. What I particularly liked was the fact that there was lots of variance in tees. It wasn't,
right.
There's back tees that are over 7,000 yards. There's a 6,000 yard. There's a nice bit of a gap for all types of ability, isn't there?
Sure. Well, okay, I'll give you some USPs. So 5 sets of tees. So they go 5,300, 5,900, 6.4, 6.9. And then for for a championship, if we were to have that along, then it stretches all the way back to 7,620. So really strong. Because we've got such a massive piece of land here, 345 acres that the golf course covers. Most golf courses, probably 120 to 150 acres, maybe not really much more than that. So as a result, a lot of links courses are parallel to the water. whereas we start 3/4 of a mile inland, and so we have then 6 holes playing directly toward the water, so right behind the greens the water, or right over the tee shot, down the fairways the water behind. So that's pretty unusual, that's for sure. But the walks between greens and tees are minimal. It's they're reasonably close from green to tee, but then the chances of slicing or hooking onto somebody else's fairway, I think, is an impossibility. In fact, you might have 100 yards between holes, from one fairway to another fairway, and I think there's only 2 holes that play back to back in the same exact direction. The rest of it, you could be going north one and then west and east, and it's all over the place because of the size of the plot of land.
So tell us, how far away is it from the centre of St Andrews, and what course would you compare it to, or is there no comparable course?
Yeah, from middle of St Andrews, it'll take you under 20 minutes. So it's around, from middle of town, about 12 miles. It's interesting. There's a lot of there's a few courses out there. You've got some Irish courses out there. Some have mentioned, the views are high up, or a bit like Trump International. There's very few that I can think of that have the spaces between the holes because of the massive property we've got here. I mean, some will naturally compare us to Kingsbarns, which is only 10 miles away, and it's wonderful and an honour to be compared with Kingsbarns because it's a world-beating golf course. But it's not really like Kingsbarns because a lot of their holes are kind of stacked up next to each other. So they run parallel to each other. So, for instance, I can think of those who have played it all know that the 7th hole of Kingsbarns, up the top is the ninth hole, and then down the bottom is the end of 16th hole. So you've got kind of 3 holes, running side by side, which is absolutely tremendous. But we have nothing like that, so we can't compare it. Although the business model is very similar to Kingsbarns. But I don't know. Probably a few linksy courses, Ballybunion, maybe a little bit of County Down in places. On a lot of the holes, when you're on the hole, you feel cocooned in your own kind of golfing environment. You can't really see much that's going on anywhere else. There's 600 dunes on the property. When you're on the hole, you're kind of there on your own, which is, I think, a lovely feeling.
So tell me about COVID-19. When did you realise what was going on, and when did you think, hang on a minute, this could really affect our opening? Because you were due to open this May, weren't you? I assume it would be quite a grand opening.
Yes, the 16th of May, we had our property's been leased by Lord Balneil. He has we're on the Balcarres estate. It's 5,000 acres, so we've taken 345 from him for a very long lease. So we were excited. There was going to be a ribbon cutting on the evening of the 16th of May after we'd had a full day of golf with a lot of his guests along as well. So we were excited. Full tee sheet, a lot of overseas players, a lot of tour operators were giving us business, from the day of opening right through. So as soon as it hit, the phone started to ring by, mainly from our tour operators as well, wondering what our refund policy was, and it soon started to gather momentum, and we really understood this wasn't looking good. So fortunately, a lot of the tour operators, their business is actually transferred to next year. So that's good. So it's just a matter of hanging on from their standpoint as well, hanging on till next year. And so hopefully next year will be a bumper year, because many groups don't travel from overseas every year. They might just, go every 2 or 3 years. So a lot of them have bumped it to next year. And so hopefully the ones next year anyway that were coming will be boosted by extra. We were very aware of our importance to ourselves, but more important was certainly people's safety and keeping well. Fortunately, our investors are from America, and they were very understanding. They've obviously got issues over there as well. So there's 15 investors in total for our project, and they quickly understood, right, we're going to have a lean year. So let's not expect too much of the year. Keep things very tight. Our clubhouse that we had anticipated opening for the 16th of May, the construction stopped there 7 weeks before we were due to open. So right now we've got an unfinished clubhouse. All clubhouses in the UK, I think, are closed anyway. You can't get in there. So it's not a disaster. We don't have the clubhouse ready. It's just that we want to get the builders back in there. So we're working out of a couple of porta cabins, and we're just providing pure golf.
What has happened in terms of how could you furlough staff? Did you have staff in place? I suppose with the grants and everything, because you haven't been going long enough, I suppose you wouldn't have been eligible for that type of thing.
Well, that's right. Although, yeah, we had a couple of greenkeepers that asked to be furloughed because they had potential, health risks at home, whatever. So they were as absolutely fine. But when this all came about, in fact, we had a tiny team. In fact, we had a food and beverage manager, a chef, and then a head golf professional, an office manager, and that was it, and then myself. So we had no other team. So there was no need really to furlough, because there was, enough work to actually be getting on with. The head pro, head chef, and food and beverage manager hadn't been employed when this actually all kicked off. So they've joined us a couple of weeks ago or so, and there's a lot to do, for them anyway. They're keeping very busy. The office manager absolutely slammed with all the refunds and all the rebookings, etc., etc. So, yeah, that was the only good thing that came out of this, in that there wasn't a massive headache and the trickiness of speaking to staff to say, by the way, you've been furloughed. If it had been 2 or 3 months on, then I would have been having the same conversation as thousands of businesses across the UK. It's a very awkward one, but necessary.
I suppose, in a way, you were almost lucky that you hadn't have opened for a couple of months. So one positive thing out of this awful situation that we're all in. Tell me about the golf course. I mean, it's been a couple of weeks now with a few less green staff. How's it looking? Is it going to be ready to be open on the 29th, all singing, all dancing?
It totally is, Sophie, and we're so excited. I played one game of golf when I was going through my interview stages back in September, and I fell in love with it. But so many folk have fallen in love with it. I've played on a number of golf courses that have opened, brand new, and I think conditioning-wise, this is by far the best that I've seen a new golf course open. The greens, there's zero gaps in the greens, not any bare patches at all. The green surfaces are excellent. Fairways are in great order, and tees are first class. So we're not the least bit concerned about it being too early or anything. Fortunately, a little bit of history. It got built and then seeded out in 2018, and so 2019 last year had a full season of growth. There was no any. So this year, we're playing on turf that's approaching 2 years old, and I had no golf in it at all, apart from maybe a couple hundred golf rounds in the autumn of last year. So we're really excited about getting golfers out there. I don't think they'll be disappointed in the conditioning. And yeah, Graham Taylor, our course manager, he came from St Andrews, great experience with Links. He's had his team, really up for the challenge and working, long hours. Having said that, though, at the early part, for the first 6 weeks or so, all the team were working much shorter hours, 5 hours a day, because he wanted to ensure absolute social distancing wasn't going to be an issue. He didn't want any breaks, didn't want any lunch breaks. They just did a 5-hour shift and went straight home.
Right. So tell me how you have put in all, the safety measures for people that want to come and play at the end of May. I assume booking online, is that one?
Yeah. Booking online. We do have a check-in porta cabin, and then we'll have a few items available for purchase. We're very aware that you can't have a bowl of markers there, because then people can mess about and they can have their fingers in it, etc. So it'll all be kind of from behind the counter, and then we'll have a food and beverage external. There'll be a barbecue out there as well. Everything's set behind, and we'll just hand it over. Everything's going to be by card. There's not going to be any cash transactions. We've got some big signage around the place, keeping social distance. Please don't touch the flag stick. We've got that as well. And then we're actually going to have a 19th flag on our putting green, with a little gizmo at the bottom as well, so people can have a putt into it and understand how it works before they get out there. So our starter will then remind people or just point out that this is what we're doing. Please don't touch a flag. We don't have any rakes out. We don't have any. We've got some wonderful views, as we've touched on, but we've got no benches out in the golf course for people to sit down and take a few minutes and take it all in, and which is a shame, but that's okay. I would rather be in the golf course playing golf than having benches out there with no golfers. So it's okay.
2 balls in Scotland.
So it's great news, because initially, the Scottish Golf, quite a while ago, were saying singles and household only. Well, I'm thinking that's a disaster, for most clubs, because I, as a golfer, wouldn't want to be bothered playing myself, and nobody plays in my household. So I would just keep the clubs in the back of the car for a while longer, unless I can go to a driving range, perhaps, but maybe I'm a bit unusual. But now that, you want to play with your friends, you've been locked up for a long time, nothing better than going out with your friend. And as I think I said before, it's much safer playing golf than it is going to a DIY shop or even a supermarket. I think it's a no-brainer, and people will stay safe. And if the starter sees any people congregating, getting pretty close, then you'll have a wee word with them. Just remember, gentlemen, can you, there's the sign over there, please just, stay apart, etc. So I would hope that the large majority of golfers throughout the UK will be like that anyway. Be responsible.
Yeah, we're 2 balls over here from a different household.
Right.
But some clubs are letting one household play together in 3s and 4s. But I would say,
right,
at the moment, we are racing around golf courses in 2 balls. So if you chuck a 3 or 4 ball in there could be some madness from people.
I know.
It's
That's right. They'll be upset.
Hours and with 10-minute intervals. So it seems to be going rather well over here.
Good.
So we've got no clubhouse. Will your practice facilities be open?
Well, we're waiting confirmation for that, but yes, I would think so. We've got a grass tee, and we can, we've got kind of orange boxes. They're quite unusual. So basically, a big box of oranges that you see. It's got a little gap in the front, and balls just kind of snick out there. So it's from America, these things. So we just stagger them like 4 meters apart, and we'll probably set out 10 stations for people just to get loosened up and probably pull a few muscles, having not swung a club for 10 weeks, but it gives them an opportunity anyway. So yeah, we'll definitely offer that if we can.
And obviously caddies are a big thing up in the St Andrews area, and that won't be allowed at present, I assume.
Yeah, it's interesting. I definitely not. A regular caddy can't do his job properly, but what we had pushed anyway before this all kicked off was actually 4 caddies, so 1 caddy between a group. And so the caddy would stand on the tee, not touch any clubs. He'd be responsible for just basically directing golfers around the course. So I don't see an issue, in fact, with that. As long as it's social distancing and he's saying, right, hit it down the left-hand side, and David, you hit it down the right with your draw, and, and just guiding round and come up short of that bunker, it's 180 yards, etc. I think having that, conduit for fun, I think is huge. And I'm going to make a few calls now that we've got a good chance of opening next Friday to find out what likes of St Andrews Links and Carnoustie and other places are going to be opening in the near future are doing with them. But I would like to promote 4 caddies for the sake of the caddy as well as the golfers' enjoyment when they come here.
Yeah, exactly. And you've obviously got a new golf course, so no one will know their way around. And most of them are visitors. So you said there that you were speaking to other golf courses in the area. Is that what you've been doing over the past few weeks to see what their plans are also?
Yes, I think I think everyone's opening. I think from what I'm hearing, apart from Kingsbarns, who are going to delay their opening until I think international travel becomes more apparent and when they're going to start coming. So I think that's what I'm hearing is their plan. But St Andrews, yeah, they'll be opening as soon as they can, and pretty much everywhere else will be, and rightly so. We're desperate to get out. It's great for mental health, obviously. Physically, people can go out and do walks, etc. That's fine, but mentally, it's really important as well to get out there and take some of your angst and aggression out in that wee white golf ball and whack it around there and have a lot of fun, and probably play rubbish because we've not been playing for so long. But it doesn't matter. It's just the noise that you hear of a ball striking that sweet spot and soaring away, hopefully straight.
Yeah, and obviously over in England, this is only my experience, most golf clubs are saying members only for the first couple of weeks. So if you are a non-member, it's really hard to get on a golf course. But I suppose that could be where you may benefit if you are pay and play only. Have you seen a positive in your business strategy?
Well, absolutely. I mean, there are so many nomadic golfers that if it's a members only, then your regular golfer who, that isn't a member, they'll be pulling their hair out saying, well, where can we get to play? We've got a lot of golf courses up here, certainly, in our area, and especially when we don't have any tourism in the area, then there'll be plenty of golf courses to get round. There is a caveat that I think Scottish Government were talking about, travelling 5 miles, inside of 5 miles to get to your golf club. Well, an awful lot of members are actually, are members that might be 10 or 15 miles away. So that's a really great area there. I can't see any issue with somebody travelling, 20 miles to come to play golf because they're cocooned in their car. They're not spreading anything. They get out in fresh air and then return into the car and drive home. So I don't see any issue with that at all. But anyway, that's just my point of view. But I think, certainly a lot will be absolutely slammed for tee times from members because they're desperate to get out there. So a lot of them might then put that parameter, members only, and then we'll see how how things go anyway with the tee time demand.
Your sign should say non-members only. That should be your little slogan.
That's right.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot of overseas people would have booked with you. What type of percentage were you looking on the booking sheet of people travelling from abroad compared to people living in Scotland originally? Yeah,
we were well over 50% of visitors paying the higher green fee as well. Green fee was £235, so it's a big ticket item to have then half of your golfers not coming. We have a Scottish resident rate, it's £115, and then we've got a local rate for Fife residents that comes at £94. So that's it's well under half price, certainly for Fife, and that's where we anticipate most of our golf coming from anyway over the next few weeks until things get lifted, the lockdown gets lifted that little bit more, and we can get some people from a whole right round Scotland coming.
Yeah, obviously that's a lot better value for locals, which is great. And I suppose you're probably looking at benefiting in the next few months for staycation. The Brits might not be going abroad, so hopefully they'll be booking Scotland trips instead of Portugal golf trips. Well,
certainly, I think it's a great opportunity. When the hotels open, restaurants open, hopefully July is difficult to say. We just don't know. But certainly numbers are very encouraging up here. I think, like the UK, we're getting under control now. That's for sure. So as soon as the hotels open, I think there'll be a great opportunity where many hotels and towns, as this is, we're sold out. Without the American visitor coming over, then there'll be lots of opportunity to come up here and stay in some nice accommodation, and the restaurants won't be booked out 2 weeks in advance like they quite often are in this area, and so staycations throughout the UK, especially in touristy places, I think is a wonderful opportunity, and chances are there might be some good rates as well available.
Yeah, and I suppose the word of mouth in Scotland would be ideal for you as a new golf course opening, and then hopefully next year the overseas will come also. But it'll probably be quite a positive spin on you guys for giving back to Scottish golf for these next few months.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, the feedback that we had last autumn when we had a couple of hundred rounds was extremely positive. We were thrilled with it, and a lot of tour operators that were questioning prior to seeing the property how we had a high green fee. I mean, it's meaty at £235, that's for sure. There's not one that actually, having seen the property or played it, thought it was expensive. You know, they were actually thinking, wow, there's a fortune. We've spent about £13 million on the property. The layout, there's not, I'm hearing from them, and it's been reported in the press, there's not any weak holes because there's a lot of dirt and sand being moved, and so every hole's strong in its own right. We have 3 drivable par 4s, which are really interesting. You know, one of the most popular holes at Kings Barnes is a 6th hole. That's a drivable par 4. We've got 3, and so to have that opportunity to go for the green, it's pretty tight if you're going straight for the green. And then if you mess up, you'll probably find yourself in a bunker, not necessarily a lost ball, but probably a bunker. And then before you know it, you've made bogey, and the hole's only 300 yards or 280, you know, so you're kicking yourself. If I just played safe up there, it would have been an easy par, but no, I went for the big shot. So 3 of them, that's a lot of fun.
Right, David, what would you say to somebody that has obviously never been up to your place to play a round of golf, and people that might be new to golf? This is their opportunity to play a game that they might never have played before. If football and cricket and rugby is not available to them, what would you say about coming up to the St Andrews area for some golf?
Wow, St Andrews has been written many times, but perhaps not read by non-golfers. But it's the mecca of golf. There's so many great golf courses in this area. St Andrews, as I say, is only 20 minutes away. You know, it goes. I think the green fees go from probably £15 right through up to over £300 for golfers golf courses around here. So you don't have to be paying a fortune if you're a new player as well. And coming to a big course, probably, I mean, you play off the forward tees, 5,300. Even if you're a kind of fairly new golfer here, you could still have a lot of fun. But it might actually be more beneficial to play, you know, another golf course that might only be £20, £25 in the area, you know, where you've got no trees, no bunkers, and it's just like a big piece of parkland. But for links experience, when the wind's whistling and beautiful views, etc., then yeah, on the seaside certainly works. For somebody starting the game versus other sports, golf's quite brilliant. You know, you can be playing it till the day you keel over at the age of 100. You know, there's plenty of folk that are still playing in their 80s, 90s, 100s. Keeps you healthy, gets you out, you know, with friends, having a great time, a little bit of après golf in the bar, a bit of banter, and then go back and do your daily chores. It's a quite brilliant game. And, you know, even if you're struggling with your health as well, and you know, that would stop you from playing football or anything like that, you can always jump in a golf cart on many golf courses. We provide golf carts. The caddy would drive it, and you can get there. So a lot of people that have got a dodgy hip or sore knee or whatever, you can still get round. So there's no excuse, you know, really not to get out. If you're capable of, you know, walking around the supermarket, then you're capable of getting around a golf course in a buggy and being out with friends and family and loving life, you know. Fantastic.
Well, thank you for your time today. The golf course sounds amazing. So if people want to book online, they just go onto Dumbarnie Links. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. DumbarnieLinks.com, and you'll see Play Dumbarnie top left-hand side in the menu. Click on there, and then it's all booked online. Everything's paid in advance, especially for this COVID-19 is most important. But that's how we did it before this came about anyway. So yeah, nice and clean. So when you get here, you've got nothing to pay for. You just get your course guide and scorecard from our starter, and you wait to go play golf and have fun.
Oh, it sounds absolutely brilliant. And with it being pay and play, it's definitely opened up a few doors for many golfers. So best of luck with the opening. It sounds an amazing golf course. I hope this year is as kind to you as possible, and then for the next few years, you'll just go from strength to strength. Thanks very much, David. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks so much, Sophie, and all the very best to all your listeners as well, for their health and happiness, and great golf this coming year.
That was positive, wasn't it? The golf course sounds very good, and if you are living in Scotland and are local, you can get on it for a very good rate, and by the sound of it, it's going to be in excellent condition straight away. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please click the like button and the subscribe button and comment below. Have a great day, everybody. See you soon.